Quinten Dormady was a guy who was just trying to chase his dream of professional football. The former highly rated recruit originally committed to Tennessee, where he saw action as the starting quarterback for 4 games. He would transfer closer to home to play for Houston after an injury lost him the starting job for the Volunteers. When he couldn't find playing time there, he would transfer to Central Michigan, where he took over as the starting quarterback. After college, he earned opportunities to try out for different NFL and CFL teams, but would fail to earn a spot on their roster. Then, the XFL came calling with an opportunity he could not turn down. It was a dream scenario. A dream that would soon turn into a nightmare. Before we talk about the scandal Quinten Dormady finds himself wrapped up in, let's go back to before Dormady ever stepped foot on a college or professional field. Dormady is originally from Bourne, Texas, and played high school football at Bourne High School, where his father was the head coach. Quinten's father taught him a lot about the game growing up, and due to that, he fell in love with not just the game of football, but the quarterback position. While at Bourne High School, Dormady was a 2-sport athlete, also playing baseball. He took over the starting quarterback role his sophomore year in 2012, throwing for 3,010 yards and 27 touchdowns, which led to him being named Honorable Mention All-State. He unfortunately missed his junior season with a torn labrum, but came back strong his senior year, leading Bourne to an 8-3 record and a spot in the playoffs, throwing for 2,893 yards and 32 touchdowns. Coming out of high school, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Dormady was a 4-star recruit who was the 11th best pro-style quarterback and 271st best player in the class of 2015. He received over 9 different offers from the likes of Alabama, Kentucky, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Tennessee. He ultimately chose to commit to Tennessee over Alabama when all was said and done. At the time, Tennessee was showing signs of improvement under head coach Butch Jones. The Volunteers also gave Dormady the opportunity to play in the SEC and compete for SEC championships. It is believed he had a strong relationship with the Tennessee coaches, and he loved the atmosphere of Neyland Stadium and loved the fans and the community in Knoxville. I mean, it's hard not to. He decided to enroll early at Tennessee and hoped to compete for the backup job behind Joshua Dobbs. Quinten's Tennessee career would not have a fast start, as he played sparingly his first few seasons, but going into the 2017 season, it was finally his time to shine. Dormady made his first career start against Georgia Tech in the season opener. This was a thrilling game that went down to the wire, with the Vols winning 42-41 behind Quinten's 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. Things seemed to be going well for him until he suffered a season-ending injury against Georgia, which caused him to lose the starting job to Jarrett Garantano. Dormady finished his Volunteers career playing in 16 games, throwing for 1,282 yards and 7 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He completed 63.9% of his passes and finished with a passer rating of 135.2. After the season, Dormady decided to transfer closer to home and play for Houston, who had originally recruited him out of high school. Coming in as a graduate transfer, Dormady had the opportunity to compete for the starting quarterback job, but would lose the quarterback battle to De'Aaron King. While at Houston, he only appeared in 2 games, throwing for 16 yards against Rice in Arizona. After the season, he felt like he needed a fresh start and decided to transfer again, this time to Central Michigan. He already had a relationship with Central Michigan offensive coordinator Charlie Fry, who had recruited him to Tennessee. He felt he was a good fit for the offense and loved the idea of playing for Jim McElwain, who had found success at Florida and Colorado State in the past. Quinten Dormady had a successful career at Central Michigan in 2019. He appeared in 10 games, all of them starts, and completed 190 of his 294 passes for 2,312 yards and 14 touchdowns against 9 interceptions. He led the Chippewas to an 8-6 record and a berth in the MAC championship game, where they lost to Miami, Ohio, 26-21. He also helped them reach the New Mexico Bowl, where they lost to San Diego State 48-11. He was named the MAC West Division Offensive Player of the Week twice and the MAC Scholar Athlete of the Week once. He finished his college career with 4,057 passing yards and 27 touchdowns. He would go undrafted during the 2020 NFL Draft, but would sign with the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League. He would leave the Alouettes and got an opportunity to work out with the Green Bay Packers, but returned to Canada when Montreal's starting quarterback got hurt. With the relaunch of the XFL in 2023, Dormady saw a chance to prove he belonged playing professional football. Dormady's wife had recently given birth to twins prematurely, so before his season with the Orlando Guardians started, he would spend much of his day in the neonatal intensive care unit before finding time to throw at night. He was chasing a dream to play in the NFL one day. Dormady was drafted by the Orlando Guardians along with Paxton Lynch and DeAndre Francois. Paxton Lynch, a first-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, would be the starter Week 1. Dormady would be active for the opener, and former Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois would be active for Week 2, leaving Dormady inactive. This was public knowledge head coach Terrell Buckley had told the media. Dormady got the chance to play in Week 1 after Lynch had a disastrous start. In relief, he threw for 142 yards, a touchdown and 2 interceptions in the Guardians' 33-12 loss. Since all the teams are located in Arlington and travel to their games together to save costs, Dormady became friends with San Antonio quarterback Reid Sinnett, who had played at San Diego in college and FCS program. According to The Athletic, in a conversation before the Brahmas faced the Guardians on February 26, Dormady mentioned that he'd be inactive. It was frustrating as he believed he'd play well enough in relief of Lynch, but the plan was the plan, so Dormady vented to his friend. Sinnett told The Athletic, "I talked to our defensive coordinator and said, hey, the guy you think is going to start isn't starting. But he'd seen the comment on TV, so I don't think it was new information to him." Quinten did not travel with the team to Orlando and would decide to go home to see his family in Tennessee. The Guardians struggled, losing 30-12, and Francois completed 6 of his 13 passes for 8 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. After the game, the teams returned to Dallas on the same plane, as XFL teams do to save on travel costs. Chirping between the teams commenced. Opposing players began to taunt Francois, with one indicating that they had learned Dormady wouldn't be playing from the Guardians quarterback himself. This next part comes from an amazing article done by Dave Ubben from The Athletic. Ubben writes, according to text messages that were submitted to the XFL as part of the investigation and obtained by The Athletic, Francois turned to a group chat with several of his Guardian teammates. "I gotta drink before I find Q and slam him on his neck. The way I'm feeling right now, bro," Francois texted the night of the loss to San Antonio. In the team group chat, Francois posted a screenshot of a conversation between himself and a San Antonio player whose phone number had been covered up by Francois and was not identified in the league's investigation. According to the person familiar with the situation, he told Reid basically everything I was running this week, and Reid told y'all. Francois asked the unidentified Brahmas player in the text. Reid went straight to the DC, the unidentified player responded. It was misconstrued about what was factual and what wasn't. Somebody texted Francois, and he believes somebody had given away calls, Sinnett told The Athletic. I don't blame him, but from the perspective of what was happening in reality, there was nothing factual about that. I'm still in shock that this became as big of a thing as it did. When Dormady turned on his phone after traveling, he was bombarded with messages from the group chat with Francois telling teammates he had sabotaged their efforts in a game in which he wasn't even active. Quinten, confused, responded, I don't know what is going on. Obviously something happened that I'm not aware of. D, what's up, bro? He texted Sinnett. Everyone thinks I told y'all our plays, which is complete BS. Which Sinnett responded that definitely didn't happen with a crying emoji. I'm not sure what was said, but I can promise you I didn't tell them none of our plays, Dormady texted Francois later that night. That's bull. And honestly, it pisses me off that that spreads around because that ain't who I am. He did not get a response, so he wrote Francois again, who responded, definitely feel you, but we are good, so don't even worry about it. Get back safe, and let's go back to work. Dormady would not get the opportunity, though. He would be cut later that week because of the situation and tried to explain what was being thrown around was not true. He hired Scott Zolk as his lawyer and began figuring out his next steps. Then things would only get worse when Dov Cliveman, a writer for Bro Bible, later posted a tweet that was viewed over 6 million times and retweeted over 3,000 times. It also noted that Dormady's stats had been deleted from the XFL's website. The tweet read, Guardians of the XFL cut Dormady after he allegedly gave an opposing team's plays from the Guardians playbook. The news was everywhere that day, and all Dormady could do was watch his credibility erode and his future in the sport, being it playing or coaching, look dim. He told The Athletic, it's mentally challenging not only for me but my family. Me and my wife are real estate agents in Nashville. That's something we'll have to fight through and move forward from. In a business like that, your last name means everything. Dormady was reinstated 2 days later, pending an investigation. The league said in a statement, additional information on the situation was brought to our attention of the league overnight, and the league has reinstated the player while it conducts a formal investigation into the issue. The situation is under review, and we will be sharing more details regarding the findings as appropriate. Dormady found himself in football purgatory. He'd work out and watch every XFL game, but he was away from the team. Staff and players from San Antonio and Orlando were interviewed in rigorous processes, and 2 weeks later, Dormady was fully reinstated. A statement from the league read, "It has been determined that allegations of impropriety were unsubstantiated and there is no basis for disciplinary action against Orlando Guardians quarterback Quinten Dormady. It was an unfortunate misunderstanding, but the right process to bring it to its conclusion was followed." Dormady also agreed to an undisclosed settlement with the XFL. Quinten returned to the team and came in to relieve Lynch in the Guardians' loss to the Vegas Vipers. He completed 22 of his 25 passes for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. This past weekend, he threw for 243 yards in the Guardians' 6th straight loss. While he may be playing the game he loves again, that doesn't mean his image isn't completely fixed. Because of misinformation spread by players and media alike, Dormady's name may always be unfortunately tarnished. He told The Athletic, "My name's been tarnished and defamed for things that were completely false. And that's not just for this team or for any of this. This is for my lifetime. You Google the name Dormady, and the only thing that pops up is this." But what is your opinion on this unfortunate event? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos right here. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe for more college football content. Thank you so much for watching. I could not be more thankful for y'all. You guys make this all possible for me, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.